Hello and welcome to the latest edition of HorsePlayers Happy Hour. I'm your host, Peter Thomas Fornatal, joining you from the Little House on the East Side. This contest is about to start. If you're just joining me, you're wondering what this is all about, go to horseplayers.com. Actually, you can get there even easier. If you go to horseplayers.com, you can negotiate to the HorsePlayers Happy Hour contest, or you can go to inthemoneypodcast.com/HHH, and that'll take you directly to the game. It's $20 to play. You don't have a lot of time left to handicap, but that doesn't necessarily matter. Pick your favorite number and play all that number, all the ones, all the fours, all the sevens. It's for a great cause. We're raising money for thoroughbred aftercare here, and we're going to do a live racing show over the course of the next, call it, hour and 45 minutes, starting off with races at Del Mar, which I am about to pull up so we can get a look at this first race there. Really excited to be with you. These shows have been so fun. I love this new format. And since Del Mar has started, we've been able to do something really cool, which is have the entirety of the contest take place within our broadcast window. So I just think that's really neat. And it's something that I'm looking forward to doing with you again today. We're also going to be looking back at Breeders' Cup Win-and-You're-In action from last weekend, really earlier this week. We're going to talk about the King George from last Saturday, a bit of a boil over there, big upset. And then we also had the Sussex Stakes from glorious Goodwood. I've been to Goodwood, never been to glorious Goodwood. Very much looking forward to getting to that meeting someday. Never easy when this stuff is during Saratoga, but we'll get it all. We'll get that figured out at some stage. But yeah, very much excited to talk about those two races, Breeders' Cup Win-and-You're-Ins, for the turf and the mile, respectively. And yeah, I might as well just put this Del Mar race up in the screen here while we chat, because we've got 1 minute. Hopefully going to have some nice participation from the crowd. One of the things I like to tell people is, while I understand technically more players coming in to an event like this lessens your chances of winning, this is the kind of thing we need to support as horse players, with an industry powerhouse like Breeders' Cup coming in and making this commitment to players by adding 2 Breeders' Cup seats to our tour at no cost to players. Basically 20,000 free added to this interconnected contest throughout the year. And if you say, oh, but it's already going on. No. You can get as many as 3 scores in 1 week in this contest, and the top 8 scores go forward. You could theoretically come in the last 3 weeks of this HorsePlayers Happy Hour tour and win the whole thing. Not to mention, all you have to do is play 1 week to potentially get to our final table, because the top 2 finishers every week become part of our playoffs. We have a playoffs at the end where top tour finishers, along with the top 2, have an opportunity to compete for a BCBC seat of their own. Once again, added to cost, can't emphasize this enough, at no cost to players. One of the people who'll be appearing on the show today is with us now. He's Jonathan Kinchin. JK, any strange chance you looked at this Del Mar race and have an idea for us? I love the balloons.
I did not.
That's okay. Neither did I. It's a busy weekend around here in Saratoga. Whitney Day. I'm doing the 100% job for all the Whitney Day races, and that's my excuse for not having looked at much else. I did look at some Saratoga, and we did get a nice chime in from our friend and colleague Eric DeCoster, who gave me some thoughts I will be sharing. But for now, JK, let's send this one out to Trevor Denman with the call.
No way to go.
Ha! You fooled me.
Almost in.
That was good.
In this time. Sophistry to the outside gate.
Rob Capalbo is on the 6, he wants us to know. I don't know who or what Phil Hartso is, but he was blocked. Congratulations.
He was wild. He was a wild
How
fellow.
about Paval? Hadn't made it in either, going up this time.
Probably the less said about that comment, the better then. But I couldn't help myself.
Now
I mean, when
sophistry.
the AI blocks you, you know you've got some problems. This camera view really put me away.
Also a little reluctant. Still backing off. Rider has dismounted sophistry now. Try to get her in without the rider. He'll join inside the gate. Looks like it worked. She's in. And away they go. Sophistry bounced out the gate, and Sophistry goes straight to the front. How about Pavala's right there? Super speed on the far side. Here's Naples Gal in the gold cap kicking through down at the rail. They followed by Madonna of Lorito's back in fifth, 5 off the leaders. It's another 4 back to My Perfect Weight. Playscape is second last, and Daddy Gave It to Me's the trailer. Into the turn they go, and Sophistry's in front. Sophistry by a length and a half. In the second spot is Naples Gal. On the far side, Super Speed. They followed by Madonna of Rorito. Those 4 now bunching up on the lead. My Perfect Wave chases after them fifth. They come for home, and Sophistry still the leader. Sophistry going on for home. Super Speed coming to tackle on the outside. Super Speed, Sophistry going to run to the wire together. Super Speed outrunning her. Super Speed to get up. Super Speed won it. Sophistry was second. Got very close for third. My Perfect Wave and Madonna of Lorito.
This is the winner there with the 6 runner, and that was good stuff. Did you mute me there, JK, or did that somehow happen automatically?
I was helping you earlier when you were typing. You're one of my favorite people in the world, and I know you very well. But I've seen you do.
I hit those keys. I hit those keys.
You go. I mean, you're like,
yeah. It's like that meme.
So I didn't want to mess up your train of thought during the race. I thought I would just help you out by hitting mute.
No, it was good. It was good. I just hoped I hadn't gotten cut. I hadn't gotten cut off. But nice winner there for Rob Capalbo to start things off. Hopefully, we're going to see his name on the top of the HorsePlayers Happy Hour leaderboard list.
So I wanted to comment on. No. Trish Smith said, "Wish that I could bet Saratoga today." Understand you guys can't comment on that though. This is not. I don't have to make a political statement. You 100% can bet Saratoga today. You just can't bet it through TwinSpires. You can bet it through Naira Bets or Express Bet or
TVG. Breeders' Cup sponsors TVG. Let's put them high on the list.
Them too. FanDuel. Yeah. Whoever.
Contests. Contests. horseplayers.com. Lots of events. So a few interesting ideas. It is smart to have more than that. We obviously preferred betting partner Breeders' Cup is TVG. We can't say that enough for our sponsors, but it's never a bad idea to have multiple accounts, and contests do open you up, and that's all we'll say about that political.
Yeah, no, but I'll also say that there's gonna be contractual situations all the time for lots of different people. So you have other options.
Mike maybe gives the best advice of all about shopping the promos there. JK, shall we reset real quick and do the Saratoga Derby video?
Let's do it.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll on that one. I got to pull
it
up, but I don't need to pull it up because I've looked at it 108 times on the Fox show. You know what? Hold on. Not yet. Let me let me plug my computer in because I just don't
we're good co-hosts for one another. That you save me from banging keys, and I save you from from running out of power or something. I'll give you a try. I put art up in the kitchen. We can show people that. We've got my signed Angel Cordero SI. We've also got my American Pharaoh SI with a picture of me and Susan on that day. No truth to the rumor that I was being considered for the cast of Duck Dynasty back in 2015. We've got our little Tivoli, the amusement park in Copenhagen souvenir. Who else do we have? Oh, I got one more I got to show you, JK, and then hopefully you'll be ready. Actually, I'm going to get a beer, and then we'll be ready. How about this one? How about this one? Do you know? I mean, obviously she's awesome, but do you remember the sort of extra significance for us of that Lady Eli Boston Spa win back in 2017?
Yeah, we scored a little bit. I thought we hit the pick six maybe that day. That was the day. Hold on, that was a practical joke.
Yep. It was you, it was me, and it was 6 other people. But we had smartly, I don't want to say for once, that's too mean to us. But we had smartly, I think we had like a $15 pick six. So even though the whole world was involved, we all got paid, which was, it was your construction. So I can say that it was a brilliantly constructed ticket. Oh, and you know what? I have a beer here given to me by Rob Capalbo, who gave us that first winner. So very clearly, that's the beer we're going to be drinking during the first part of this happy hour. Now, don't let me, if you have the Saratoga screen up, don't let me get too far behind, JK. I don't have it up. Yes. We got time.
Well, if you switch your other screen to Saratoga, and I can see it grayed out in the bottom.
Oh, you're so smart. I love you. One good idea after another today. And then I swear we'll talk about the Saratoga Derby. I just want to make sure we have enough time and I didn't blow the run of show with that little trip down memory lane. But I think we're going to be okay, as tight as we want to be with this video that we're going to pull out for YouTube. By the way, if you're watching us on Breeders' Cup YouTube or social media somewhere, I encourage you wholeheartedly to subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel as well as the Breeders' Cup YouTube channel. We're getting so close to that 10,000 goal. Okay, hang on. Let me just note the time. I'm going to write down 12:15. PTF and JK back with you for more stakes coverage. Looking ahead to Grade 1 action at Saratoga on the weekend. The Saratoga Derby, JK. This race has thrown up some pretty good winners over the last few years. We might see another one this year. Who do you like in this spot?
Well, I'm going to make you stick around for a second to find out who I like. I like the horse.
You want to talk through the field first?
No, I don't want to talk through all of them, but I think there's a couple that definitely need a name check. We'll go first with the Invader, Diego Velasquez. This is a horse who ships in for Aidan O'Brien, who won last time out 16 days ago. And looking at Aidan O'Brien's stats, 1 for 22 when shipping, or excuse me, not when shipping, but when running a horse back off of 1 to 22 days of a layoff, right? So this horse is coming back off 16 days. And it's just not something that Aidan has been successful with. And a horse who's going to be a short price, I think it's at least interesting to consider some other ones.
I get what you're saying. And this is one where, right or wrong, I think I'm going to do the Charlie Brown to Lucy thing and say, tell the statistics to shut up. Because how many of those horses had at least a 5-point buyer speed figure edge estimated over their competition? And then also there's the fact that this horse did so well at Leopardstown, a track that is left-handed, had decent ground on that day. I just think he fits the race like a glove. You may be right, but I don't know. Let's publicize that stat so maybe we can get something near the 2-1, because on figures alone, this horse is long odds on. And at long odds on, that stat is enough to give me pause and want to throw another in. We'll get to our final answers at the end of the video, but I'll throw out a couple more that we should talk about first. Legend of Time is a horse that certainly deserves discussion. He has been more hype than reality on his stateside starts. Not that he's been horrible. He won ahead in the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge, but the figures, the buyer figures he's been running are not nearly as fast as the estimated buyer he would have run at Maidan, and it leaves me a little bit cold. But he's certainly one of the logical alternatives. Is he on your radar for a win in this spot?
Well, if you look at what Legend of Time did at Churchill Downs, the American Turf on Derby Day, I would say that it was a little bit of a disappointment. However, Trickery came back and won a Grade 1 in the Belmont Derby, so maybe that performance wasn't as bad as we thought. And between those, the Pennine Ridge, I thought Legend of Time had kind of got it figured out. And then last time in the Belmont Derby, I was a little disappointed in Legend of Time. So at what's likely to be the second choice, I'll take another shot at trying to beat Legend of Time. His inconsistency just a touch too much for me.
I hear you. Of the domestic runners on the morning line, number 2, Cugino is the shortest price, went gate to wire under Flavian Pratt at Churchill Downs in the Audubon Stakes. That's a listed stake back on June 1st. Looks a candidate to be the best of speed under Irad Ortiz here. Pratt ending up on White Palomino on the outside for Chad Brown. That could be political. What do you think about this pair, Cugino and White Palomino, where Pratt ends up? Any observations?
Yeah, I don't need either one of them. I think that Cugino was fortunate to be forward in a slow pace last time. I think the same about White Palomino. But because of White Palomino being forward and almost holding on, there is a couple of horses out of that race that I think are interesting. First of all, Royal Majesty, who's ultimately going to be my top pick in here. I thought this horse ran extremely well on 2 occasions. This horse was trying to close into a slow pace, and the Pennine Ridge was trying to close into a slow pace, and the Belmont Derby, and both of them was beaten about a length. I think Royal Majesty is sitting on a big race with an opportunity to take another step forward. And then Deterministic is a one who hasn't had a chance to run this far yet. But what this horse showed us in the Gotham, or at least showed me in the Gotham, is there was talent. Then he came back in the Manila and ran well enough going the flat mile. Now we've got an opportunity to go a little bit further, the mile and 3/16, and I think it could just hit him right between the eyes. My top pick in here is going to be Royal Majesty. My second choice is going to be Deterministic. I'm going to try to beat Legend of Time and Diego Velasquez.
I like your confidence and your boldness. And those 2 horses, the 6 and the 7 you mentioned, they're going to be on my – excuse me, not the 6 and the 7, the 5 and the 7. They're going to be on my tickets as well. Deterministic does seem like one of these horses. We knew all the talent he had and, really did have that flow. He had a flow excuse last time in the Manila when he ran second, trying to close into that slow pace. He makes a lot of sense as one. That could have been like a buried, improved kind of race where he could step up again. And I love where he sits on the pace map in here. And you made the case for Royal Majesty as well. More for under, but one I want. But I will make my top pick in this race, Diego Velasquez. How I bet it is obviously going to depend on how the wagering goes. This is an interesting race. First race of an all-stakes pick 5. So there's an opportunity to see the board before making our final answers. But there you have it. That's how we see this year's Saratoga Derby. I'm not joking, JK. I reached out and almost hit end because I'm so used to doing that when we do our other YouTube videos. That would have been bad. Our clients at the Breeders' Cup might not have been happy if we decided to do a 18-minute HorsePlayers Happy Hour this week instead of the much lengthier version that we've been contracted for. They're getting a post at Saratoga for race number 8. Feel bad. No, you did mention Carson's. Did you mention did neither of us mention Carson's run? Maybe that if I had a do-over, I would have brought him up.
He was all in at the half-mile pole last time and was fortunate enough to win, in my opinion. I think that was more of a indictment on the group he was running against than a heroic feature on his part.
From a hosting point of view, though, a Grade 1 winner who won his maiden at Saratoga deserved a call. So it was not a handicapping fail by you, but it was a host fail by me.
What Grade 1 did he win?
He won the Summer Stakes last year.
Oh, at Woodbine.
Yeah. So he should have got a call.
It's post time.
Oh, it's post time. Let's see. Let me mute Frank. Let's quickly give thoughts on this race. You start while I find the notes.
I just got to remember what race it is. I'm
race number 8. I have Eric's note in front of me. Eric says he thinks we can find a price in this race, though number 1, Chicho Bello, is not a price, 5-2. The number 7, Bereze, he likes. That horse is a nice price at 6-1. Who did you come up with in here?
I literally thought this was an all but 8. All but the 8. So here's what I'll say.
You're not doing a lot to help the people here, Jake.
I will consider myself a loser if the 1, 2, or the 3. If the 1, 2, or the 3 win, I'll consider myself a loser of this race. I'm telling you, something wild is going to happen here.
I thought
this race was an all but the 8 horse.
maybe Eric 7 will get the job done. I'm not sure if Eric DeCoster is watching, by the way. We're going to talk about him. He had some personal news that he shared on social media early today, and I've already offered some messages of support, but we'll do that again on these airwaves, and really appreciate him popping in here and doing some handicapping on this Thursday card for us. Let's see. Chris Couples agreed with you, JK. Used all but the 8 on some tickets. So we'll see now if that's a case of great minds think alike or fools seldom differ. Here's Frank with a call.
Going out for the early lead. Dr. Kraft is up close in the opening furlong. And on the outside, Barisi with the yellow cap moves up and is in the thick of it too. Also in the mix is Curlin's Wisdom in between rivals. Baldassar is 4 wide going on to the back stretch in the red, moving up to be a joint second. Then comes Shadow Dragon in behind this group with 6 lengths to make up, followed by 6% racing inside Brewpub and Cut the Cord at the back. 24 flat for Chichobello, who will carve out the fractions, pursued by Baldassar toward the half-mile pole, with Barisi 2 off the pace in third. At the rail, Dr. Kraft still well within himself, fourth. Another 2 lengths back comes Curlin's Wisdom. Then comes 6% in behind them as they move into the turn. Shadow Dragon splits that pair and starts to make progress through a half in 46 and 4. Brewpub is next. Jackson Heights toward the back of the field went by Cut the Cord. Chichobello, Baldassar going at it. Dr. Kraft looming, hugging the rail, gets a little nudge, and will come through along the rail to challenge them now. Here's Dr. Kraft after those embattled leaders, and Shadow Dragon is fourth, gathering some momentum. Jackson Heights has surfaced from far, far back. He's making good headway on Dr. Kraft, who has a 2-length lead outside Shadow Dragon and Jackson Heights. Jackson Heights, Shadow Dragon. Jackson Heights, Shadow Dragon trying to get to Dr. Kraft. They inhale him late. It will be Jackson Heights, possibly. On the inside of Dr. Kraft, it's a close photo. And then behind them, Shadow Dragon third.
Frank got it right. It was the inside runner there. So you have to take a lowercase. You're going to take a lowercase L. Is that what you're telling me on that?
No, why? He's a horse like a 12-1.
Oh, that horse was 12-1. For some reason, I thought you said it was.
What? I mean, I could be wrong about that. Wasn't he 12-1?
Take a look. The 4.
I think he was a price.
Oh, then you're good to go. I'm doing too much. I tried to get AJ to produce today. He said he could do it. Then he couldn't do it. Anyway, I'm 13-1, JK. You nailed it, as did Chris Couples. You guys are in great shape. Apologies there. Anyway, very exciting finish. Very exciting finish there with the horse coming in, making that rail run. Shadow Dragon, that was the horse that beat Looms Boldly in his first ever race, making a similar out of clouds type of move.
If you're playing the rest of the way, the rail is good at Saratoga today. It's been
2 more
evident.
races to go.
No, yeah. If you're playing, you got to take a look and let's see, what does that mean moving forward? Hold on, let me just see what that.
Yeah, take a look. Let's talk about it now. Let's give it an early preview.
Let me talk about what I think that means moving forward. Yeah. So we have the turf race coming up next. So it means nothing here. What is there left? A late double. So the turf race, whatever, do what you got to do there. I think it's a tough race. Miss Leo on the rail in the last was a horse that I liked anyways, who had some speed drawn towards the inside. It's an off the turf race. I would think the 1 is meant to be very tough, and they're going to bet the 15, the MTO to the far outside, which if the rail is good, you'd like to think that the 15 is not going to get a great trip.
Yep.
I think the 1 is the horse that I would definitely pick in the last.
Interesting. Eric liked the 3 Bomb Squad in there, another one that could get an inside type of a trip. Anyway, Eric, if you are watching, just want to reiterate the support we said before. Everything you've done in your life so far, you've tackled with great character and positive attitude and enthusiasm, and I'm sure that cancer will be no different, just another victim of yours as time goes on. But thank you for sharing that info, and we support you. And, as I said before, let us know if there's anything we could do. We'll be rooting for your picks and rooting for you, more importantly, rooting for you as time goes on here. Eric, a very worthy follow. Let me figure out what his Twitter is. People out there watching should definitely follow his insights. I mean, this is a guy I have said about Eric before. We'll all be working for him one day, And it's just Eric DeCoster, EricDecoster. And then it looks like there's a little underscore there. Was thrilled to be out for his big presentation, finishing top of his class out there at the University of Arizona. And he's been working tirelessly for the last couple of years behind the scenes to make everything we do at In the Money Media possible. So obviously a guy, not that he needs our help, but he'll be in our thoughts, and we'll send some positive vibes his way. All right, you ready to look out west at the Clement Hirsch here?
I mean, yes. Let me just pull it up. I got it here.
Yeah, you do that. I'm going to pound the keyboard for 2 seconds, but it won't be too bad. I'll try to do it as soft as I can. There we go. AJ just chimed in that he can help us with the cutouts to put these up separately on YouTube, so that's a good thing. I'll make sure to say that. Yes, Rob shares the sentiment there for all of us. Love that. Yeah, you let me know when you are ready, and we'll talk. I mean, it's one of these to Adair Manor or not to Adair Manor questions. That's how I'll probably start it off. I'll probably remember to do the little plug for people to subscribe. Sorry, folks watching who just heard that plug. You're going to have to listen one more time as we do our Clement Hirsch recap. We don't always commandeer these airwaves for double duty, but sometimes we run out of time and we have to, and that's the case in a busy week like this at Saratoga.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's do it. I did get a request for Eric's Twitter again. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that up on screen so folks can follow. Do that real fast, and then we'll get into it. There it is. There it is up on screen if folks want to follow and lend a message of support. We'll start right at 27 or maybe a second after here. PTF and JK back with you. Breeders' Cup Win-and-You're-In action at Del Mar this weekend. The Clement Hirsch Stakes. This is an exciting race. It's interesting. We've got some East versus West competition going on. JK, there's a key question here. If I should have pre-interviewed you so I knew how to set up this segment better. You know what? So that's what we're going to do is we're not going to start with the favorite, and then at the end we'll give our opinions. Let's start with a filly who was all the rage last year and, hasn't quite had the same success this year, but pretty mischievous last year, won a bunch of really important races, including the Kentucky Oaks, the Acorn, and the Test. This was your 3-year-old filly champion. She's back in action here. Do you think we could see a return to form from her?
That's pretty cool, right? Oaks, Acorn, and Test. Pretty special. I think she's had excuses in her last 2 starts. However, she's never really run that fast. So now I'm basically just hoping that she's going to eventually kind of turn it around and turn into that kind of upper echelon type that we always thought she was. Huge fan of Brendan Walsh. I guess it's at least a little bit interesting that Tyler Gaffalione decided to stick over here and hang out with us on Saturday. But I think that if you had to come up with an alternative, well, a horse that presents some upside, a horse that might jump up for you here, I think that she's one of 2 horses that you could take a look at to try to beat the big favorite.
Let's talk about another, not the favorite horse, but one who's interesting. Scylla has turned heads this year, and this, of course, is the sibling of one of the most social media horses in history, and one that we spent an awful lot of time talking about on the podcast in Tacitus. Mom Close Hatches was something pretty special as well. Where do you stand with Scylla? I know you were, and remind me, were you a pro-Tacitus or anti-Tacitus guy during his racing days? This one brings a 3-race win streak to here. Can she make it 4 on the bounce?
Yeah, I was pro-Tacitus, and I want you to anyone who ever tells you when you're sitting having a conversation and someone says that race mares don't end up being good moms. Close Hatches was an unbelievable race mare. And look at these siblings. You got Scylla. You've got Batten Down, who ran in the Jim Dandy the other day. You had Tacitus. So she's obviously figured out how to pass through that running. I think she's good. I think she's talented. I think she's the alternative. The problem is that she's got to get a lot faster for a horse that's going to be the second choice in here.
Now we'll get to the key question in this year's Clement Hirsch. But first, I'm going to put out an appeal for folks watching to subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. It's super easy. It's right there. Click that button. Click that notification bell. You won't miss any of our YouTube exclusive content. And if you want more of our act, inthemoneypodcast.com is another place that you can go. You can also check out our free newsletter, inthemoneypodcast.com/email. We've got written free stuff daily to help you find winners across the USA. We do our pods. We do loads of YouTube videos. And it's been so great to meet so many people from the YouTube space. You're in a different category, JK. I mean, I don't mean to make your hat size any bigger than it already is, but with the whole Fox thing, you walk around and everybody knows you from Fox, and it's too much fame. I'm sure it's actually annoying that people think they can come up and like touch you and whatnot. But for me, it's been really interesting this last year. They come up now, and 7 out of the 10 who come up say love the YouTube channel, not necessarily love the podcast. It's cool. It shows that something we're doing is working. Anyway, join the party. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
It's always fun when people say hello. I don't. That's not it's just some of the ways they choose to do it are the interesting ones. Okay, so one of them is the grab, like you mentioned. Hey, come here.
I've seen that, and I would punch somebody in the face. You're remarkably restrained.
And my favorite one that happened today. People like to walk by and say, "Hey, man, I've seen you on TV before."
No.
Yeah. I always say, "Yeah, I've been on TV before." I don't know what to say. What do you say? Thanks? Do you say thanks to that?
Right. You need to say they're missing when they don't say. It's one of those things where it's what they don't say. When they don't say, and you do a great job, it's almost like, and I've thrown my shoe when you picked one too many favorites. It's implied or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of favorites, let's get this train back on the tracks here and talk about the big story of the Clement L. Hirsch on this Saturday card at Del Mar, where the turf meets the surf. Are we with Adair Manor or against?
Yeah, I just think she's going to be too tough. I mean, look, she's no superstar. She's very, very good. No superstar. So I'd love to try to find some sort of an opportunity to play against her in here. But these horses just aren't fast enough. She's got a tactical edge. It's a home game for her. She's won at Del Mar previously. I just think she's going to be too tough in here. And so I think from a multi-race standpoint, I'll be looking at this as a free square and trying to move on. I think some of the other two horses like that we talked about, Scylla and Pretty Mischievous, are alternatives if you have some other situation you're trying to take advantage of. But, man, I don't see spending too much money trying to beat Adair Manor.
I understand, and she'll be on tickets. I'll technically pick Pretty Mischievous in this spot. I'm just hoping you're right, that the recent runs aren't as bad as they look, kind of against the flow. They know they're going to have to be aggressive here. I like the recent works, JK, shown a bit more speed. Maybe that means they're going to try to make this a race. Maybe they can tackle and crack Adair Manor. She probably wins, but I'm going to pick Pretty Mischievous, and I'll have both of them on my tickets. Love Scylla, but I think maybe just because of the way this race flows, the third is the ceiling. I don't know, maybe a penny, maybe a one backup line type of a deal with her. If Pretty Mischievous really goes and takes the race to Adair Manor, maybe it can set up. But my gut is, I'm just going to call it 8-2-3, and we'll see where the chips lie in the Clement Hirsch. Once again, subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel for a lot more horse racing content. Okay, more business out of the way. That's good. Where did we end there? About 33.50. We're going to call it 33.50. Lean and mean. Where are we on the track at Del Mar? For races 3 and 4 at Del Mar, we will have a special Del Mar correspondent in the form of Frank Scattoni joining us. Did you have a chance to take a look at this one? I did get at least a quick glance at this second race at Del Mar, so I can give a thought if you need to get your act together. It's an interesting little 1 mile contest here.
Yeah, I like the 7. I'm going to beat. Are they betting the 4?
Let's take a look. I haven't seen the 7 is 4-5. Believe it or not, the 4 is 5-1.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with you. Bright Leaf is supposed to get a good setup. It's hard to bet the presumptive leader. It's My House. Lay's Candy could sit right behind that one and potentially get the job done. Brightleaf looks like the one, but evens, it's probably more of a race to watch than to bet, if I'm being honest. That's probably the one I would have picked in a contest this morning, figuring the 5-2 odds of the morning line. That would certainly be the bet for me. Where do you want to go now?
The one's a little bit interesting. Is one in here? Or scratch? Yeah, is one in or scratched?
The one is
scratched, I think.
Scratched. It's 2 through 7 go here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 7 for me. I don't, like you said, maybe one to watch, not bet. Unless you're playing in the contest, of course, then.
Right. Well, you'd be locked in. B.O. Woods gets it. Yeah, JK just had a 13-1. I mean, we can't claim that as a top pick winner. But you have plenty of, as you're correct, B.O. JK has plenty of long shots. He picks favorites, as I pick favorites a lot, because they win a lot, and a lot of people want, especially when I'm on TV in the UK. Like, honestly, they don't care. They want winners. When you can lock in a price, or you're talking about multi-race sequences, winners are super duper important, as opposed to giving the clever 8-1 shots that run third, you can make money off too. But our idea, and it has been for a long time on these airwaves, is to err towards picking what we think is going to happen rather than getting cute for the sake of getting cute. I mean, I get it. Some people are like, well, we know the 4 to 5 shots. You know what? You don't know the 4 to 5 shot to build your day around necessarily. And I try to do it that way. You feel free to take on what I'm saying. A
couple things. First, I didn't pick a 13-1 shot. I said that was an all race and a 13-1 shot won.
Right.
So that was a moral victory to a certain extent. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't think that people that are watching FS1 and FS2 and they're tuning in, whether they're sitting in a bar because they're following the the USA South Sudan basketball game, or they're following a Mets game, or they don't need me sitting up there speaking from my nerdy hierarchy horse player brain, giving them a 13-1 shot who's going to run 7th, but the 13-1 shot next Wednesday is going to win because I'm making positive EV plays. I give people on TV who I believe is the most likely winner within the constraints of what my brain will allow me to do in terms of bad bets. Like,
you're not going to want to give out totally over bet.
Yeah,
you're going to give out legit.
These people that act like I bet these 3 to 5, like I'm, it's like it's just so idiotic. And so people, nothing drives me, if you're listening, nothing drives me more crazy than when you're sympathetic to me about people who like say dumb stuff, because I don't care about the people that say dumb stuff. Like, it's actually more offensive that you think I care about what I think. I
don't think he was saying that. Hey, the real race is about to begin here. Let's give it to Trevor, and then we'll pick this up after, because here comes the 7.
Layla's Candy, Brightleaf on the outside. These two now come to dispute it. Low expectations in with a shot
race
two.
Plays out exactly as it looked on paper.
Layla's Candy, Brightleaf doing the better of the two, and Brightleaf now takes the lead. And from here on in, it's just a matter of how far Brightleaf and Juan Hernandez win it easy in the end. Layla's Candy will finish up second, then Low Expectations, and It's My House.
There you go. Yeah, that one, that was an even money that won like that won like 4 to 5. Anyway, feel free to button up that top.
I didn't take it as like offensive. I'm just saying, like, we've also learned the people that say a lot of stuff, that complain, like it's them and 13 people in a room, in a dark room by themselves, thinking that they're having some sort of impact on the world, that they're saving the world's problems because they have all the answers and no one else cares. Like the other day, I don't. It's been a week since this happened, which is hilarious. So somebody, I think I told it on the podcast. Somebody DM'd or someone tweeted right after the Fox show for Jim Dandy Day, and there was 5 races on that show. And someone tweeted something like, it's impossible to listen to Andy Serling and Jonathan Kinchin on the Fox show, or it's something like that, like it's torture or something like whatever. And then, so I responded to, he had no likes on his comment, and he had 7 views on his comment, 7 views. Okay. So I used to be a person where like that comment would throw me off, where I'd have to like fight back. What are you talking about? But then I started to realize like literally like 7 people saw it. No one liked it. Why am I going to acknowledge you? And why am I going to respond? And
just
then
gives oxygen. Yeah, just gives oxygen.
So what I decided to do instead, which is one of my favorite moves in Twitter, is I responded to him and I said, it's very sad to me that you tried so hard to make a comment that was going to bother me and only 7 people saw it and no one liked it. I said, that's too bad. And not to mention, Andy and I picked every winner combined on the show. And then I blocked him, which is my favorite move because now he can't get back to, he can't
respond.
Well, no, what he could do is he could say, Jonathan Kinchin blocked me, and 4 people are going to see that. Right. So that's what I did. But yeah, Andy and I picked, we picked all 5 winners on the show on last weekend. And like people like that still want to say dumb stuff. And I picked 4 of them, but it is what it is.
They hate you because they ain't you, JK.
It's not even that. It's just like people are silly. And like, I don't know why I'm having a therapy session now, but people are just silly. Like, stop being so corny. Why do you care what I'm doing? Like, why do you care? Like, it's just weird behavior.
Mr. Woods was a big fan of your car talk interviews, especially the Frankie one. That was particularly good stuff.
Let me show you this. Let me give you guys a sneak peek. Look at this. This is what happens when you tune into HorsePlayer Happy Hour. You get inside information. Hold on. Let me show you the one that is going up. That's going up tomorrow. I'll just show you this right. Hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go.
Who do we got? Ooh, Mike Maker. Interesting. Now he is, not known for being garrulous, we'll say. What were you able to get out of him? Were you able to get him to open up a little bit?
It was everything I dreamed it would be. It's one of my look. I mean, Mike's a quiet guy, right? But Mike was 100% on board. He played along. We had a great time, and it was very funny.
That's awesome. I'm excited.
Comes out tomorrow.
I'm excited to check it out. Here's my question for you. If I were in the comments, I would say, why isn't JK drinking? What do you have something important to do tonight? What's happening? Are you showing it? Oh, you are. Oh, I just hadn't seen it yet. Good. Just wanted to make sure that you weren't, because this show, if people who are familiar with our act, we're loosey-goosey at the best of times. You put a beer in our hands and forget it. We get a little, it's the ridiculousness. I've had more than one person tell us it's the absurdity of our stuff that they like. I mean, I do believe we give out as many winners as anybody and we'll give you some knowledge, but I truly believe it's the stupidity. There's another word I'd use that starts with an F that I won't say on the Breeders' Cup airwaves. That's the real reason people tune in.
Yeah, I wonder if my in-laws would be upset if I opened a bottle of Cristal. You think they'd get upset with me?
I'm pretty sure they would be. Plus, I want some. If you're gonna get into the bubbles, you need to have me there. Oh,
how about this 1988 Dom Perignon? You think I'll get in trouble for that one?
Oh my God, they have an 88 Dom over there, huh? 88?
Yes, 88 in the box.
Oh my God! Now how young? You've got they've got some young kids. Is that a birth year wine for one of the kids?
No. Well, maybe Joey. Maybe.
Because I laid down some 12s when Perrin was born. That we're gonna have a lot of fun opening up when she turns 21, her wedding. So it could be that. So yeah, you may be impaled on that bottle if you open it. So
trust me. I'm like, I sleepwalk sometimes. I'm nervous I even said that. Like tonight I wake up and I'm like, ooh.
Trish has a question about Kentucky Downs, our great partners. We're going to be doing so much coverage for it. Actually, our Kentucky Downs coverage on In the Money Media starts this week because Ellis has these Kentucky Downs preview days that are going to be covered. Not sure who the guest is going to be, but Mikey P is going to be the host for those shows. Look for those in your feeds. I don't know that we'll do full. We might do full Kentucky Downs. It just depends on what's going on. If they're in conjunction with Saratoga Del Mar, I could see doing a triumvirate potentially. But yeah, that's going to be super fun. very excited to Kentucky Downs will be in the mix one way or the other. I think I've got to go. So they're doing the one big contest this year on the 7th. I assume there's going to be an online component, but I think I'm going to go down, and I'll probably not be able to resist the urge to play. They've got their 6 stakes, they got 6 stakes and all this stuff. And September 7th, it's the Saturday after Saratoga. So it's a little bit of a bummer to be away for so long and go home and then travel, but God, Nashville's so fun and Kentucky Downs is so fun. I think we're gonna have to do that. Any chance we'll see you in the mix for that?
Nah, I actually had a slight little window and an opportunity to do some stuff there to work, but it's first of all, there's a little bit of an overlap.
Right? Here, how are you going to do that?
Well, we run for 2 days here, but then I could hit it on the way back. But Austin, the human, is starting 7th grade football, so his first game is the Wednesday after we get done here. So I'm obviously not going to miss that. So I'm gonna be in Texas.
All right, we've got a minute to Saratoga, and we've got stakes action in the Glens Falls, JK.
I thought this race was a very cool race for a couple of reasons. I thought there was, there was a point in which I literally almost singled 3 horses. And then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to try to get too cute, and I think that there's a few that can win. So Chop, who I thought, City of Light, shout out Lanes In, has been really good. I get Frankie Dettori's interesting. He's got big numbers, all these things. And then I said, no, Eternal Hope is really interesting. Eternal Hope's numbers felt a little bit light, but those were 3-year-old numbers. These are grow-up numbers now with good works, has been working on the turf course over at the Oklahoma. You get Flavian Pratt. I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll just take that horse on the grow-up. Then I thought about McCulloch, and then I realized that I had to have Atomic Blonde as well, who I thought ran extremely well in that Curtana. And I'm not trying to get carried away with trends. I think trends they'll lead you down a dark, deep path of disappointment when you start saying, I'm going to take every horse that does this. One of our friends who I love very much, Dan Kovaleski, he used to have one where he would play every single turf sprinter that left fairgrounds that ran at Keeneland. And he had really good success with it. And so I don't want to knock it as a whole, but I just find it to be a dangerous path that can lead you into wasted opportunities. But I think horses that ran at Churchill that have been running on the turf course here at Saratoga have been running well. And so I give them a little extra push when I see them. So, I thought Atomic Blonde made some sense. I thought this was a little bit of a spready race. Let me see the prices. Pete, can you pop the prices up so I can give my official pick?
Can you see that? Okay. Can you read that? Make a big screen. I'll run them through. The 112, the 212, the 3-5 to 2, the 4-15s, the 5 at 9 to 5, the 6 at 5s, and the 7 at 3. I'll tell you what, I'm not historically great with being on side with McCulloch. I love McCulloch in this spot. I just thought the last race was like one of those subtle, I don't even want to call it trouble, but I just thought looking at that running line, looking at those pace figures, just kind of moved a little early, like a little inefficiently. I think that New York run from McCulloch is just a lot better than it looks. And, there's no Didier in here. This is a meaningful drop in class.
Let's not forget, okay, that in my opinion, from the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, the race that everyone said, did you see the field when it drew? Did you see the field? Did you see the New York?
Was that race?
New York. It was an absolute war. And if you watch that replay, I'm almost positive that in that cut between the 16th pole and the wire and that angle at Saratoga, I think you can see every horse in the race. I think they were all there until Didier obviously pulled away.
Sure.
McCulloch obviously was facing the best, but this is an interesting conversation about price, right? Because, for instance, the 6 Atomic Blonde, I think she's very interesting. I think she theoretically offers some value as the 4th choice. But when I look at a horse who I think is the 4th best horse, but interesting, and I'm getting 5-1 versus 5-2. my brain almost prefers the more likely 5-2 than the more hopeful 5-1.
Sure. It's about percentages. And, the math is out there, what the implied probability of the odds are. And the phrase we'll use sometimes when there's one big favorite is into the teeth. Only 5-1 into the teeth of a 3-5 shot. Like it can mean something. This is a little different because there's 3 other runners. That horse has every chance, but I take your point. Personally, I'd want probably more like 8-1, and you're getting 5s.
Yeah, you said implied probability, which I think is an interesting part of this conversation. I used to have this thing, and I don't know if I have it anymore. I don't think I have it anymore.
I used to have this online. The easiest way to describe it is an even money shot has an implied probability of 50% to win the race. So,
okay, so that's the question I have.
33, etc.
But that's the question I have. Okay, so if an even money shot has an implied probability of 50%, I find it to be if someone tells you that a horse has a 50% chance of winning a race, I call BS because how do you know that it's 50? Like, why? Show me the math. Show me your work on how you got to 50. It's a feel thing, right? It can't be a real thing.
Oh, it can be a dude. I do value lines.
But you do value lines based on your opinion, though.
Oh, of course. But yes. I will do every single horse, and you can show work on that. Is my point.
Yeah, but you can't. But it's not 2 + 2 is 4. The way I would describe it is that there is art to it as well as science. It's not like poker, right? Poker, how many cards can hit on the river to give it to you. There is feel as opposed to that for sure. But it's also not completely loosey-goosey. If you over-rely on feel, you'll be broke. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I'm saying ultimately the decision on whether or not you believe that a horse is a good way, if you believe that a horse is going to either win 50% of the time or lose 50% of the time, that ultimately is a field situation. There's nothing tangible that can answer that question because every situation is unique.
We don't get it to play out. It's not a Monte Carlo. We don't get it to play out a million times. I still believe to this day, JK, Fierceness was 50-50 to win the Derby, for example, even though the one data point we have makes that sound like an idiotic opinion.
Well, but
I know that's right.
But you thought he was 50. So he was 50-50 before. But after what I saw the other day, I would say that let's say you were right, he was 50-50. But after the information that I've then gathered now, I think that actually he was 60-40 that day.
Don't make me feel worse. Biggest bet of my life.
I wonder. It's an always evolving situation, especially with pace, breaks, right. The way they break away from the gate, the way that there's mistakes that are made. I think it's a tricky conversation. I understand your point that it's feel. Sure. You can make that decision based on feel.
All right, let's get to Frank with the call of the Glens Falls.
Alpha Bella has good speed too. Those two hook up right out of the gate with Parnak in third, followed by Chop Chop, Eternal Hope. It's a gap before back to McCulloch, who is 3 in front of Atomic Blonde. Rounding the far turn, Royalty Interest ensuring a good early tempo. Eternal Hope comes right after her, right into the second spot. They're followed by Alpha Bella, and Parnak is fourth, 4 lengths off the lead. It's a gap of 5 back to Chop Chop, McCulloch, and an unhurried Atomic Blonde. The opening quarter went in 23-4.
Should we do the best joke ever where we cheer as if it's the finish when they hit the wire for the first time? We've gotten very good at that in the stretch.
It makes me so angry.
Back to Alpha Bella.
Marshall and I are yelling. We'd be screaming. Marshall's probably screaming right now. Hold on!
Chop Chop is next as they're almost single file. McCulloch.
Hey, remember the rider at Gulfstream that got it wrong not too long ago?
Oh my God!
To Eternal Hope, the half in 48 seconds flat, pace lively enough. With Alpha Bella in the orange colors third, Parnak 6 lengths off them. Chop Chop now starts to get a little bit closer. Moving up on the outside of Parnak, then it's McCulloch under a nice hold.
Pete, from here, who do you love?
I'm worried I'm a little far back, right, with McCulloch.
For Royalty Interest.
I love Eternal Hope from here.
Eternal Hope feels like the winner from Eternal Hope feels even money from here.
Now, Alpha Bella and Parnak along the rail.
But it could all,
Then it's
suddenly the whole
Fifth,
picture
coming to
could
the
change, the
half-mile
wise
pole,
man
5
once
lengths
said.
off the lead. Irad Ortiz yet to ask McCulloch.
Chop Chop's not in a bad spot.
2 more to Atomic Blonde.
No, and
Royalty
McCulloch could
enters,
wind up
trying
and
to
win
take
if
them
they
as
start
far as she
running.
can. Leads a half length now to Eternal Hope. And Alpha Bella is going
McCulloch's running.
Chop Chop is just behind Parnak, and now there goes McCulloch. She'll have to cover real estate, but she's starting to roll. And from the back,
He lost too much ground, I
Blonde
think.
has run 2.
Probably going to be hard.
McCulloch through a mile in 38 and 4. They're at the top of the stretch, and Eternal Hope spurts clear. McCulloch takes up the
Finish
chase
up
with big strides. Parnak running a giant race in between
Wow,
them. As is Chop Chop.
She's going to hang
Four of
because
them
he went
line
so
up,
wide.
and
Maybe
a
not. Maybe
Glens
she's going to win
Falls
anyway.
Dazzler, but it's McCulloch
Amazing.
who emerges late. And McCulloch will defend her title.
That was impressive.
Pulling clear with authority.
Wow. You don't often see the 8-wide move pay dividends at Saratoga, but we did there. Even I loved her, and I'd given up. That was fun. That was good. That was good to see. She's cool.
Well, if for those who don't know, and if I'm not mistaken, McCulloch is named after Mary McCulloch, who was essentially Chad Brown's first employee when he went out on his own. He kind of started his own business and that handled the books, and so Mr. Klarovich allowed him to name a horse in her honor, and this is the one that he picked. Yeah,
it's a good story, and she's been cool and honest for a long time. Is she the one? Did she run against Kinchin in her first race, like going way back?
Did. Yeah, I think Kinchin beat her, actually, to be fair.
What is the latest on Kinchin, the broodmare? That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, she's got a Bob Edwards bred her to Speightstown, which is interesting. You know, that Lope de Vega with some, you know, that European speed with some American speed. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Can we help name the foal?
I'm sure Bob will do something interesting for the first one. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm sure he'll come up with something.
Of course, Kinchin not named for you, but named for Big Ralph, who I had the pleasure of getting to hang with. I'll never forget when we were sitting at brunch in Vegas, and I made the mistake of trying to pay the check with your dad at the table, and he gave me a look like Angel Cordero probably gave Manny Icaza when he would try to come up the rail back in the day. It just wasn't happening. He was all class, that man.
Funny enough, my dad was he was that night. He came to Vegas that year, and he's probably he was in his 60s at that point. Probably had like an oxygen thing on. You know what I mean?
I think he did have the oxygen thing.
Still a handsome man, but he was probably had on some dress pants and a shirt tucked in with some probably some Crocs, some red Crocs or something. And he's sitting at the bar with his oxygen thing on, and I believe he was approached by someone who worked late at night in Las Vegas, and he
the world's oldest profession. Is that what we're talking about here?
He says to me, bro, the ladies were talking to me at the bar. I said, Dad, I think, nah, bro, no. Dad, okay, Dad, yeah, they were talking to you at the bar.
I had that experience once at a, I'm going to throw him under the bus here, but maybe I shouldn't name him. No, I'll name him because he didn't do anything wrong. It was the exact same story. I won't name the establishment in Saratoga, but you all know it. And we were after the races one night, and this is a man who's he's a handsome man, Brian Natto. You all know Brian Natto from Gulfstream Park and many parties right here at the little house on the east side. And it was a similar situation. Man, that girl, I was like, okay, that girl, you mean the one you see now talking to that guy over there who's about 5 feet tall and looks like he works out 14 times a week and is clearly her handler? That girl's the one? Get out of here, Brian. Anyway. I don't know that we're allowed to talk about this stuff on Breeders' Cup Airways.
Well, whatever. My dad's passed away, so he's
statute of limitations and all that.
Yeah.
Nothing happened in either situation. To be clear, if they put us on the air and they tell us to drink, they're gonna get a little bit of this stuff. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I think you're about to punch the clock here, JK. Right? Are you going to hang out? What's your story? You're sticking around?
I'm in the quest for 5 of 6, like the rest of us.
Okay, we'll keep you. I mean, stay in the mix if you'd like. We have a race coming up at Del Mar that we are going to get to in 7 minutes, but we're going to go to it now because we have our next guest. I had it all planned, but then I talked to you too much. The cue was going to be after the race at Saratoga. I was going to say from one Frank to another. JK, we will catch you on the flip. Godspeed. Who do you need?
Hold on, Frank. Frank, put your hand up. We'll do like a tag in. 3, 2.
There always seems to be wrestling references whenever we do
a lot of that. We do a lot of that around here.
I love it.
Frank, what's going on with the sunglasses? Are those Terry's?
I was just going to say, I lost the bet, Pete. I lost the bet. I bet her that Arabian Night couldn't finish off the board in that race the other day, and then the horse was so bad, finished 4th, and now I have to suffer the indignity of wearing these sunglasses.
I knew there was a story right away. A lost bet, always a good guess.
She said Pete's going to know immediately. She's going to say Pete's going to call you out so fast. But no, actually, the true story is I left my sunglasses in the car, and it's super bright out here, so I needed a little bit of help. And of course, Terry saved the day once again. So you're going to have to deal with my bug eyes, but hopefully I can at least give you some good information to make it all worthwhile.
That's the plan. We have another guest we're going to bring in now. He is the author of A Better Way of Thinking, which you can now buy in 3 formats over at abetterwayofthinking.com. There's the hardcover book, there is the ebook, and there's the audio, which I can't wait to listen to. Matt Miller, welcome back to the In the Money Airwaves.
I have seen plenty of triple tag team matches.
Of course.
D-Generation X, and so I'll be.
Oh, he's a total wrestling mark. I don't know if you knew that about Matt.
I didn't, but I love it. Does Matt know about us in a previous life as the Masked Avengers?
No, I've never told him about the Masked Avengers. Yeah. We're big guys, Matt. I mean, come on. I've got the lucha mask here somewhere.
You've seen us eat steak, Matt. I know.
So I remember as a kid it was like the most phenomenal holiday gift ever. It was one of the old, it wasn't WWF at the time. It was one of the other leagues. And there was a masked wrestler. I think it was just called the Masked Superstar. And I remember me, my brother, and my father, believe it or not, the 3 idiots putting these masks on, running around the house trying to beat the what out of each other. Very funny.
From parts
that played out
unknown.
In our early days up here at Saratoga on more than one occasion. Little outdoor, backyard wrestling. It was. Who knows what would have happened if we'd stuck with it? But we somehow got less respectable jobs than involved in wrestling. We now work in horse racing.
It's close.
If not for a wiffle ball injury, I might have been right up there, jumping off the top rope.
Wiffle ball huge back in the day. I remember that mostly at that big house on Union, playing out in the yard using the folding chair strike zone. Always important. All right, let's talk about this race, gentlemen, and I use that term extremely loosely in this company, about this race coming up at Del Mar. Frank, can we beat this 6-5 favorite in the spot, or do we have to begrudgingly accept that this is the horse that we want?
Yeah, when I did this race a couple of days ago before the morning line, this number 3, I'm still in it, was my top pick. But at this price, that's really tough.
Right? I mean, she's run at maiden claiming a bunch of times. How good is the horse that she was second last time, 2.5 clear, but 4.5, beaten 4.5 by, I don't know if they're saying Sabres or Sabres, but
just kind of round the track in that race. But you know how I am. Mark Ladd off a freshening with a go-to jock like Frazu. I think that horse is going to be very tough. But, this is a contest, so you need to try and find some prices. So I'm just going to throw out a horse. Well, first of all, you're getting good value on all the other horses because that horse the Glad horse is being overbet. But I'll throw out a little bit of a fuzzy here. Currently 11-1 on the odds right now, and that's number 11, Storming Gray. I heard you and Jonathan talking earlier about the grow-up angle.
Yeah.
I know this isn't as severe because this horse just raced in February, but this is a lightly raced 4-year-old. I know the horse has had a couple of chances at this low level, but the horse has not been disgraced. The horse has run well. And I know a lot of people will look at the connections and go, oh my God, how can I bet this guy? But this is a trainer. This is the kind of race that this trainer wins. Whenever you see a small barn, do not discredit the horse when the horse is running at the right level, at a condition where the trainer actually does decent work. So I gave the number 11 chance to just kind of get over, stalk the pace, and pounce, just like what we saw in the last race.
I could see it. I could see it if I squint. It's a tough one for me because I love, in these maiden claimers, I love unexposed form and horses racing at new low levels, and we just don't have that in here.
No, you don't.
Which makes me, pushes me towards the obvious 3. I like your idea on the 11. How about the 10 taking so much money into the teeth of this big favorite? I was a little surprised to see One Arrow at 3-1. Could there be some signal in that off this very long layoff?
Well, this happened the other day. I always have to, and I always forget, when you see turf horses who have been running on the turf drop to the bottom on dirt, you have to consider them. Papa Padromo won with one the other day. And the reason is because those turf races are classier races. Yeah. So even though this horse doesn't have any dirt form, he has been racing against better animals. And obviously the last race is just a throwout race. So yeah, you get an aggressive jock in Maldonado coming out of classier races. When you're racing at the bottom, that's being forwardly placed and having a whiff of class over the others that's it. That's the whole show pretty much.
Chris was looking at some workouts and says that that Arrow, I think that's the 10 runner, One Arrow, looked good in workouts. That might explain some of the steam as well. I mean, in my life, I don't remember too many Neil Drysdale maiden claiming winners. Does that bother you at all, Frank, or is it irrelevant?
No, I mean, you just have to take what the race gives you, right? I'm not going to, I can't say anything negative about Drysdale. The man's in the Hall of Fame. Yes, he's used to dealing with much classier horses, but this is a 5-year-old mare who just never really put things together. So yeah, she absolutely has a chance to win. But like you said, Pete, typically in these races, you're looking for unexposed form at the bottom. This horse hasn't raced at the bottom, but what you see is what you get, and that's the case with all of these in here. There's no dropper. There's no horse with a major speed advantage. I thought this was a tricky race. You can make a case for a few of these, but I was going to take a little bit of swing with the outside horse only because of the price. And when you're playing a contest, a 10-1 goes a long way.
Matt, I'm getting to you a little late with this question, but you're the master of looking for signal in the markets while you are Marshall Graham. You see anything interesting in the markets to suggest a play here?
Three.
The
product I'm looking at of late that's been helping me quite a bit is Equine Edge. And this was a very reliable favorite, at least based on my interpretation of their data.
All right, let's see what happens here. Scotty McKeever been on our airwaves many, many times. And yeah, I think Equine Edge is cool too. And one of the many things that I look at in trying to find winners. Let's go to Trevor. The call.
And away they go. Girl Can't Help It was off slowly, lost 4 to 5 lengths. Smooth as butter on the inside is very fast. Here comes One Arrow now. One Arrow taking over in the center of the track. In a little tight, was round in circles, had to take up there. Racing in just behind them comes Look at the Glide. On the outside of Look at the Glide, we have I'm Still in It. And then we drop back to Storming Grey back second last, and Girl Can't Help It is still last. Onto the backstretch they go, and Smooth as Butter has the lead by a length. Now here comes Size Silk Stocking, and Size Silk Stocking goes right on by and is the new leader. One Arrow in the red cap is right there. High Flying Gracie on the far side now goes up to be in third. Then we come back to I'm Still in It. Alongside of that is Sent by Angels, the Grey starting to lose ground. Look at the Glide is on the far side, and then we drop back to Girl Can't Help It, and last of all, Storming Grey. Into the turn they go now, and One Arrow goes on. One Arrow, the new leader, and pulls off to lead by a length and a bit. High Flying Gracie's in second. Size Silk Stocking can find no more. Now here's I'm Still In It coming with a run on the far side. And Girl Can't Help It is running on as well. They come to the top of the lane, and it's 1 Arrow Clear. 1 Arrow Clear by 4. Girl Can't Help It is putting in a nice run from second. I'm Still In It battling away in third. They come for home, and 1 Arrow is clear by 3 lengths. 1 Arrow still in front. Girl Can't Help It plugging away second, but not going to get to 1 Arrow. 1 Arrow and Edwin Maldonado win it clear. Girl Can't Help It will finish second. Finishing up third is I'm Still In It.
10, 6, and 3 was the order of finish there at Del Mar. I think that favorite just didn't break and had all the work to do. We talked about some of the angles on the 10. Hopefully some folks were involved in that one. Hang on, Frank. I muted you during the race because Trevor was so loud. I had to, but I can now have to figure out how to unmute you. There you go. Any thoughts coming out of that one? Any notes for next time, or was the break the story?
Yeah, I would not be in a hurry to bet back anyone from that race. That was just ugly as ugly can be. Staggering home. We talked about turf horses having, dropping to the bottom. Turf horses dropping to the bottom. They have a class edge, and it's a sneaky class edge because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, the horse has never raced on dirt before." Who cares? When you're running for 20,000, it doesn't matter. Half these horses can't run. Period. Let alone on dirt or turf. Doesn't matter what the surface is.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong. Not a bad way of looking at it. Were you involved there, Matt, or just sort of watching out of academic interest being on the show?
Rebates hit my account today, and I therefore found myself with scraps. I think my bet there was $13, but I cared a lot, if I'm being honest.
So you ended at a 0, right? Because I know how you're
done for the day. I mean, that account is now 000, and I wasn't really planning to play today anyway. I'm fine with it.
All right, we've got another race, the nightcap, coming up at Saratoga in about 11 minutes time, and we'll close the show looking back at the fourth race at Del Mar. Oh, you know what I haven't done all show is put up a leaderboard. So when that race, Frank, if you can tell me when that race is official, let's pop up a leaderboard.
Sure. We'll do.
We'll take a quick look at that. In the meantime, Matt, I'll ask you now. You're fully on sale for the first time. All 3 formats. A betterwayofThinking.com. How you feeling about where you are with the book? You told me the sales numbers the other day, unbelievably strong. I was feeling good, but it's kind of cool to have all 3 formats out now.
I agree, and I'd say if this is my biggest complaint or problem following a book project, I think it was successful. The biggest thing I would have done differently is wait to have all 3 available at the same time. I would have initiated work streams to have them, to time the date. It's made it a little tough to time the publicity and the push, but I've got a whole bunch more coming. I think our friend Steve Bick is hopefully going to have me back on. My friends at the NTRA are going to give me a bit of a push around some NHC publicity. And so, okay, I'm going to make one kind of final good push at the horse racing community. And then I'm really curious to know if any of these people have jobs in companies where they need speakers or things like that. I mean, I'd love to give public speaking and motivational speaking a shot. I think I'm an okay storyteller, and there's just lots to tell in the world of gambling, business, life, you name it.
I love the sound of that. We'll put in a quick plug here. We've got some really fun stuff happening in the contest jockey world. Who do we have there? Let's see who we have.
See if you can tell. The box is a little small.
Yeah.
Phil!
Very
PCG.
Nice. Oh, amazing. From Chicago and Pacific Coast Grill fame. Great to see him out there. That's awesome.
He can't hear you because I got the AirPods.
Right, the AirPods.
He says,
well,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say hi to those guys.
No, that's great. And Matt, I know, big fan of the PCG as well. We've had victory dinners there in the past.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Can I say something about Matt's book, Matt? The book is an evergreen, right? This is a book that's going to sell. It's going to sell every week, every year. The information is timeless. So now that all 3 formats are available, I mean, it's just with the more exposure that you're getting, I've had people come up to me and say, when you did the best bet with me on opening weekend, oh my God, like I learned so much. I learned so much from that conversation, and I'm gonna go get the book. And I know people who have gotten the book, guy like Tom Reynolds, who Pete as well.
Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. Yep.
He came up to me and said, "Oh my God, I love the conversation with Matt. I had a personal conversation with him, and I read his book, and it's changed the way I looked at the races." So I encourage everybody out there to please just go read it. It was one of the best books I've ever worked on, and I just learned so much from it.
That is insane. I don't know, Matt, if you realize what an insane compliment that is, because Frank has worked on, I'm going to guess, 250 books, maybe more in your career?
Yeah, probably. A bunch of New York Times bestsellers, too. So this was the most enjoyable.
That's awesome. Let me give some props to the leaderboard here. Timothy Lyons in first right now, comfortably in first with 85. Chris Couples, such a tremendous supporter of In the Money Media, both on HorsePlayers Happy Hour in the comments and also on the writing side. Right now in that coveted exacta position, 6280s. Matt, let me give this one a shot. Letexier in third, Nathan Kaczynski in fourth, Richard Meister fifth, Bob Montgomery running sixth and seventh, and very spread in these last two races. So very good chance of getting some tour points there. Michael Cavana, he's been at our final tables before. He's got 2 entries at 46.40. And also very interesting to see the strategy these two have been using, Matt, where they're, fairly similar or similar enough up to this point, and then spreading late. Great idea for getting 1 entry into tour points. Mark Wilgard, John Marino, Bill McAvoy, Justin Mustari. There's that name again. Going to see a show on our YouTube channel very soon from contestjockey.com where Justin participated. I'll let you watch to see how he did. But horse playing champion here in 12th. Love to see that. Mark Elliott and then Dennis Clark right now rounding out the top 10%. Always love to see this kind of blend, guys, of established players, people that we know, with some new names that I've never had the opportunity to say before on these airwaves. Love that blend. Really can encourage people to check out this contest jockey show when it drops. And we've got qualifiers Saturday and Sunday free on contestjockey.com. Saturday, you can win your way in to the LRF Cares contest next weekend at Del Mar. That is an amazing opportunity to support Thoroughbred Aftercare. You can find all about that in themoneypodcast.com/LRF. But hey, why not win your way in at contestjockey.com? And then on Sunday, we've got a contestjockey.com event to win into next Saturday's. Next Saturday is going to be the 4-Star Dave Challenge. But you can win an entry to a future Naira Bets $300 contest on Contest Jockey on Sunday. Go to contestjockey.com. Register for free, and you'll get the emails about all the upcoming events. Matt, you were the first winner. Didn't work out as planned in the Naira Bets contest last weekend, but I have a feeling you'll be back.
Oh, I'll be back. It's a great format. It's not coincidence that Brad and I came in 1-2. We had a strategy conversation about a new format and what we thought it would take to do well. And look, it's brand new. I don't know if one round of success means that we're right. Certainly for that day, I think it played well. But I'm eager to see how this plays out over time. I do think I don't know that I'm giving away a big secret here, but I do think the size of the field matters a ton.
Of course.
And more conservative play is way called for when you're trying to beat a home game of 10 people versus 200 randoms that are all at each other's throats.
It's a good way of putting it. And I think eventually that format is seen to its best effect in a final table format. But I think we're also going to have these, the way I could see it emerging is you have, let's say it's an 11 race card at Saratoga. I could see having the first 5 races open to the world, where the prize is you finish in the top 10 and you make the final table. And then races 6 through 11, that's the final table. And that's what we'll eventually try to air. I mean, the idea of this form, there's 2 things that went into this format that we devised. One is we wanted something televisable that the non-horse racing person could watch and understand. The second is we wanted to create the no limit hold'em of horse racing, with the idea being a minute to learn how to play, cliche, lifetime to master. And I think, that result in our big open game of having BCBC champions 1 and 2 with so many first-time contest players involved, I feel like we may just have nailed the skill to luck ratio, as well as made a fun gameplay experience for someone who's never been to the races. And I apologize if I throw my shoulder out patting myself on the back, but I'm very excited about contestjockey.com.
Yeah, you should be. It's an exciting format. And look, to a skilled contest player, it presents challenges. Being essentially told you can take only one horse to lock up a race, that's a little challenging. I try to prefer opportunities for dutching or taking multiples if I can. And instead, what I'm left to do is weight my opinion with my dollars subject to the minimum. And so it was also fascinating thinking about the leverage effect of having more money, than everybody else. As you get to the later races, you create a situation where people just can't catch you if you can do something damaging early enough in the day. So again, it's still in its infancy, but Brad loved it. I loved it. The group we just hung up with in Saratoga talked about it a bit. We love it. It's we're eager for more.
Now, Frank, no worries here if you haven't had a chance. I know you've been busy out there, but have you checked out the format yet? Have you played?
I haven't, but just hearing you talk about it has got me really excited. Opening weekend was crazy, and then last weekend, of course, my focus was on the on-track live bankroll contest, which didn't work out how I planned. But now it's time to get serious. Focusing more on the HorsePlayers.com, focusing on the contest jockey that you told me about, and just doing more things for me. Be a little selfish now instead of handicapping.
Get Frank, you got to play the free qualifier for the LRF thing. Is
that I'll play in for sure.
For you, yeah.
When is that, Pete? When is that?
Yeah.
When is
Matt,
that?
are you able to hang around for a little bit longer? Excellent.
I'm good
and Frank, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to the Saratoga race. Frank, I'm gonna put you in the penalty box for a minute. I'm gonna record something for BCBC Diaries with Matt after this Saratoga race, and then we'll bring you back in. Bring you both back in for the close. You guys good with that running order?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's pop the Saratoga race in. Funny enough, everyone in the world seems to be on our angle of the one runner here, with the thought that the rail is good at Saratoga today. Trevor's so loud, Frank. I'm just gonna mute you there.
Yeah, mute me. That's fine.
You'll be with us. I'm guessing you didn't. I'll penalty box you now because you probably don't need. I'm guessing you didn't have a chance to look at this Saratoga race anyway. We'll bring you back. We'll bring you back in short order. But so yeah, we were talking about the idea that the rail may be good today. JK really liked the 1. He's alive to 5 of 6. Eric DeCoster mentioned the 3. So I may play both of those horses and hope for the best here in the Saratoga nightcap. You said your scraps are gone, Matt, but if in theoretical terms I forced you to make a bet, what would you do?
Undoubtedly, based on what I'm looking at, it would, and this is not normal handicapping, but the 15 is sitting right now at 9-2, should be quite a bit lower based on the will pays in the various multi-race bets. That horse is bet pretty much evenly with the 1 as co-favorite. So just the discrepancy in odds alone, my suspicion is we're going to see that narrow. I tend to look rather prescient at these times when it comes down from 9-2 to 4-1. As I'm talking, we'll see. But that's not genius. That's just looking at the board saying the market will catch up, I suspect. But at the moment, with 15 at more than twice the price as the 1, I don't think that's a close call.
I think what's going on there in part, Matt, is, Frank knows this expression well. We say it all the time. As smart as these markets have gotten, everybody's a wise guy. Everybody, way more than 10 years ago, people are aware that the inside is good today. And obviously that works against the 15. But, that can go too far and it can change in a hurry.
Yeah,
so,
that's a pretty stinging penalty. I mean, to be I just would have expected lower still. And it's
awful. No,
it's jockeys on the planet. So I think
and I think you're right. I think the horse will come down as a result of that. But I do think there's something to it. It makes the game so hard. It's so hard to be, it's so hard to be smart these days. I mean, everybody's in your business all the time.
I'll argue with you a little bit and say that one of those pools was the double pool, which just happened. And so it's not like it was only the pick six where you could argue 6 races ago we didn't know the bias.
Right.
So I'm still, look, I didn't handicap the race. I don't know, but just looking at this board, it's the 15 for me.
No, I mean, what you're saying is the logic is irrefutable. I'm going 1-3, hoping for the best. But, I think you're probably right that, especially with the everybody's a wise guy theory, the 15's offered value and looks well in the flesh going into the gate as we send it over to Frank Miramati with the call.
And they're off. Miss Lau is hustled hard from the inside post, but it is Dance on Air who's a little bit quicker. These two speed away, and Welcome Back Babe rallies up on the outside to take third. They're followed by Pamplona Red in fourth. Fifth is Just Heart as they swing on to the back stretch, some 4 lengths off the lead. It's another 2 back to Hayes Bay, joined by Malibu's Dynamite. A couple of more lengths to Wine at Midnight. Bomb Squad is next, and the trailer is Wicked Rhea. 24-1 for Miss Lau. And so it's Miss Lau leading the way, prompted by Dance on Air coming to the half-mile pole. Welcome Back Babe and Pamplona Red are side by side, third and fourth, with Just Heart in the pink silks fifth, 4 lengths off the lead. Hayes Bay losing a little bit of ground at this stage. Malibu's Dynamite is hard ridden into the far turn. Another 4 lengths to Wine at Midnight, followed by Bomb Squad, and another 3 to Wicked Rhea, who has trailed throughout. The half in 48 seconds flat. Miss Lau has been there every step of the way. Just Heart moving up on the outside of Dance on Air. Dance on Air still trying. Then it's another 4 lengths back to Welcome Back Babe. Malibu's Dynamite is next. They're at the top of the stretch. And Miss Lau still with a comfortable lead of 3 or 4 lengths. Dance on Air trying hard, but not closing the gap on Miss Lau. Miss Lau in command every step, pours it on a bit in the final 16th of a mile, and will report home a galloping 5-length winner. Dance on Air was second. Then it was Hayes.
Like I said, the one the whole way.
Dude, sometimes, and it doesn't happen that much anymore, but sometimes the bias dictates the outcomes of races. That sure looked like that.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. It's not like the opportunity to make money on this is over. What this means is this is a day you want to circle and you want to go back. You're a serious horse player. You want to go back. You want to make sure all your trip notes are in order. And you want to go back and you want to find the horses like this one that were very much flattered by it. And you want to find the horses like your 15 here that basically had no chance. I mean, the horse didn't run at all, but I'm still tempted to give a little bit of a break to a horse that was strongly supported in these very smart markets, who was just very clearly against it. And, you make your notes and you come back and maybe you couldn't make money today, but maybe you make money the next time. That's how I see what we just saw at Saratoga.
Yeah. And for me, I tend to do more of what you said first than second. When a horse comes out and does really well like this, I do think you can generally discount that to some degree. The problem, and I'll just pick on that 15, it didn't really look that good. And so I don't know if it was the horse or the track. And so I don't know how much to take from that. So frankly, and you know me, based on that, I'd rather take signal from the board or other places I have more confidence in than my own ability to figure out if that 15 just lost because of its own ability or the track. You tell me. I don't know.
It's tough. You'd much rather than, I wouldn't make that 15 a bet back for sure. I might give it an excuse. Yeah. But if you can go back through this whole day of dirt racing and find horses that tried really hard and fired against this bias, those are the ones you want to bet back. You know what I'm saying? There's two different things. There's put a line through it, and then there's one to take. There's a difference between put a line through it, don't evaluate it on that, and then the next level of, let's move this one up. Let's bet this one back. You certainly wouldn't be like, I'm going to bet the 15 back horse did no running. But at the same, you know what I mean? There's grades of what you want to do on a biased racetrack day.
Totally. And the strategy you just described might result in 3 bets in the future. It doesn't mean every horse that ran, you have to find where it is going next and try and find some angle. It just may be, if you can find 3 good examples of what you just talked about, and let's include the 3 horse from, I think it was Del Mar before, that the start wasn't so good. So, I mean, it's another example of, you take a little note and say the horse didn't quite have a chance to do its run. Okay, and if you can take out of some losers on the day, a couple notes that might turn into a winner one day, that's not too bad.
All right, we're going to do some BCBC Diaries. I'm going to reset right here.
All right, I'll get all fancy. All right, ready.
Next up on the show, we bring in a man who has not only won a Breeders' Cup betting challenge in the past, he's been involved with 3 of them, making him just about the most successful player in history when it comes to the BCBC. He is Matt Miller. Matt, how are things, my friend?
I'm doing terrific. Great to be with you. Thanks.
I'm glad you dressed up for the show. We appreciate that.
I did dress up. This is the outfit. So no joke, I was wearing other clothes, looked at the family, and I do have to call out Olivia's 21st birthday, which is today.
Amazing.
And instead I have to go find my YouTube or podcast outfit.
The dress hoodie. You got the dress hoodie going on. There's actually tails on the back of it if you look carefully. You have a new book out, A Better Way of Thinking. It's been the talk of the contest world. Heard a lot of people who were participating in the Del Mar contest last weekend talking about it. And now you're on sale in all 3 formats, meaning print book, ebook, and audiobook. How's your experience been with the book so far?
The book's been amazing. I get a chance right away in this interview to say, to your face, I do think you were wrong about something. Those audiobook sales are going to turn out to be double ups. I am told repeatedly, and I take it as a compliment, and you should too as editor, I am told that someone reading this book hears me saying it in their head. And that was my goal. I wouldn't know another way to do that. But obviously taking the book to the audiobook level literally puts you in my head, actually puts you in my head. So, or in the reader's head or the listener's head. So I'm told, again, I'm not a very active reader, so I'm admitting to some faults here. I'm told some people have gone back to read parts again. And so this seems like the kind of thing, if I were taking it in, and it's definitely a topic that would have had me interested, knowing me, I would have bought the hardcover. It's really cool looking. The cover's neat and whatever. I probably would have dug in. And then when the audiobook came out, I would have said, forget the reading. I'm just going to listen. So that's me.
That's great. I wanted to ask you about your attitude generally towards Breeders' Cup betting challenge qualifiers. You're someone who's bought in many times, but you love playing contests throughout the year as well. What's on your dance card? When you look ahead to this schedule of BCBC qualifying, where do you see yourself participating versus just not worrying about having to deal with that and just wanted to buy in? What's on your dance card?
You know me very well, and I used to worry about these interviews, my ability to come up with answers that made sense and explain myself well. I do feel now that I've written this book, my thoughts are so well organized that I'm going directly in the question is, what are your goals? And in my case, I'm going to the Breeders' Cup anyway. And so even if I'm buying in for 2 entries, which does sting, it's still real money to me too. I'm going either way. And so qualifying is terrific if it makes good economic sense for me to do that. It would depend for me on the format. So I'll make fun of myself a little bit on this HorsePlayers format. I don't think it makes any sense for me, given the fact that I don't do a lot of handicapping, that I tend to be a spot player and more of a betting expert than a picking expert. I don't think for me it makes a lot of sense to chase a BCBC seat on HorsePlayers. It's a format that favors other people. I don't think I'm going to save money on my entry essentially by playing this. When it comes to live money contests that have BCB seats as a prize, absolutely, that's something quite valuable and something that I think is far more attainable. Ironically, this has been a very strange contest year for me. I haven't yet won one of those. I'm not desperate for it because I can just buy it. It's actually the NHC seat that has me and my good friend Marshall Graham both on semi-panic, given that it's August 1st. Neither one of us has a qualification. I made the ridiculous statement the other day that if I'm in a spot where I get to pick my prize, BCBC or NHC, I am now, right, and I'm about to lose readers and credibility. I am almost at the point of trying to work out a deal with the person who would have gotten the NHC seat to say, hey, give me a couple grand and I'll switch with you. Something like that.
Such is the power of the NHC, the hold of that wonderfully fun event. Well, you got two opportunities this weekend. We talked about them earlier in the show. Monmouth running the Saturday contest, and then actually, wait, it's this weekend is Monmouth on Saturday, and then next weekend we've got the 4-Star Dave Challenge at Saratoga with opportunities to qualify for the one at the Little Red Feather contest this weekend, also on contestjockey.com. Can we count on you to participate in those?
I'm fully in, and look, it's another little plug for the book. This book is not however many 200 pages, 300 pages of bragging, of saying how great I am at things. Yes, we do.
I edited all that out, Matt. I edited all that out.
You know darn well this is someone conscious of 48 years of being one way and 5 of being another. I'm going to admit to another funny mistake today. Thankfully, I'm buddies with Brian Skirka, and I get from him a personal email that says, did you mean to sign up for my contest 4 times? You know there's a limit of 2. Okay, I didn't honestly, as I'm looking at the weekend slate of contests, I'm signed up through TVG, and then I see this on ExpressBet, and I'm thinking, perfect, I can hedge one against the other, and blah, blah. Yeah, it's embarrassing. And I get a note from the tournament director saying you've entered my tournament too many times. So look, it happens to the best of us. I don't know that that's me, by the way, but whatever.
Amazing. Matt has been a regular guest on HorsePlayers Happy Hour throughout the year. He'll be back with us very soon on there. Appreciate you coming on BCBC Diaries this week, my friend.
Great. Thanks for having me. Love it.
All right, we got Frank back in the mix. I'm going to call that.
Yeah, but
720. We're working hard today. When I run out of time, Frank, we do double duty on this show. But we need you to answer the key question: who's going to win this race at Del Mar?
I think the market's pretty efficient here. 5-2, and then I like the 7. Let me make a little bit of a case for the 7. Make it snow at an okay price. This horse ran above condition last time. Broke the maiden in January, came back in a non-winners of 2. This is a non-winners of 1. I like that. Papa Padroma just wanted to give the horse a race, and it looks like it's go time today, shortening up after a 6.5 furlong downhill event. But I do think the 2 and the 5 are going to be tough. The 5 was going to be my top pick, but the 5 has been my top pick many times before, and it's cost me a lot of money. Of course, today will be the day. And then I think number 2, Excelia, has a huge shot for Phil D'Amato. He wins a lot of these races, and especially off the layoff. And he's got the best turf jock in the colony. Well, him and Rispoli. Barrios and Rispoli are the 2 best.
Matt, question for you. This race, you look at the betting, and it just suggests confusion, right? You've got the 2, the 6, the 2, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9, all in the betting, as the Brits say. All horses taking money. Doesn't seem like a great spot for you to do your thing. Is this the kind of race you would typically pass, or do you see some signal that you want to share with the viewers before they pop?
I just plugged in a small bet on the 5. I am sitting just on the outside of the leaderboard on this contest with the 2. And I covered myself for a few bucks to cover all my entry fees today if the favorite beats me.
Love
That's
the
not the
sound
most
of that.
logic I can give you here.
Very good example of the holistic approach you take. Here's Trevor Denman with a call.
Mine is going on for the early lead. The other line races in the black and white there too. And also in between Cap kicking out to join them. Sally is down at the rail and they'll separate all these runners.
Is right up there as well. And then we drop back at the back. We have Make It Snow. Make It Snow is last. They come into the top of the lane now, and Ufter along the inside, a narrow leader. Gem Mine in the gold cap on the far side is right there with them as well. Exalia is looking for room at the rail, has room, and Exalia now bursting through down at the rail. Headed for arm, immediately comes to tackle. On the outside, Big Summer. Gem Mine is in there too, and a late run, Make It Snow, wide open. Big Summer is doing best as they run to the wire, and Big Summer has won it. Very close for second. Just Nails headed for arm, a tight photo for second, and then Exalia.
So betting suggested it could be a wide open race, a scramble. That's how it played out on the track with the 9 eventually getting it done. Who got second there, do you think, boys? Was it the 5?
I think the 5.
But you
the
only
5
had
also.
Win, Matt? That didn't do you any favors?
No, look, it was actually, as I'm looking, there is a chance that my third entry might have snuck in because I did have that one. So we'll have this as the math. I'm in split entry hell right now. I've got 3.
Split entry hell, that is something contest players know an awful lot about. You play multiple entries, especially in a pick and pray, you end up with, 54 points on one and 48 on the other, and the cut line is 60.
It's what happens when you enter a pick and pray with very little conviction in your picks. I personally strongly prefer what I am seeing on the leaderboard as evidence of people that gave some thought to their picks and took one of 2 approaches. They either bet them straight exactly the same all the way through, trying to make a nice score on the day if they hit, or at the last second, they split off a little bit and try, with a couple races in which they have lesser confidence.
Everybody froze.
I like that quite a bit. And so the idea of just taking random numbers on, or even semi-thought-out numbers, it's pretty frustrating. I'd much rather commit to one set of picks and then spread only where I feel like I have to.
We got to get you involved in one of these HorsePlayers Happy Hour games in the coming weeks, Frank. I know it's a lot to make you look at races other than Del Mar, but maybe Matt can be your example. Play a little, get a little random, get a little jiggy with it in the Saratoga picks, handicap the Del Mar races. Maybe that could be your secret sauce.
It could be. No, I promise I will get involved, and I have played in these before, and I think they're tremendous value. And a lot of people say, hey, chasing the NHC seat. It's all about the BCBC to me. I think that is the best tournament. It's the best tournament we have. And to me, that's the holy grail. And just to be sharing screen space with a gentleman who has had really good success in the tournament that I consider the holy grail is an honor. So of course, I would love to get an NHC seat as well. But to me, it's about the live bankroll, getting that money and putting your money where your mouth is,
It's so fun. I mean, I love them both. I've had the opportunity in partnership situations to play in both. My only issue with the NHC is this new conflict with the Cheltenham Racing Festival, which, Frank, I know you've been to, and I can't. One of these years, I'm going to have to pick Vegas over Cheltenham, and it might be as soon as next year, but it does put it much lower on my priority list. But I think even an NHC enthusiast like Matt would agree. It's like, if I were to attach a dollar value, it's at least a $5,000 asset, but obviously that's less than the $10,000 of the BCBC. So, that has to factor in. But, there's an emotional, and Matt, you can speak to this. There's an emotional value to qualifying that some would say is priceless.
Oh yeah, especially for a first-time qualifier, it's the closest thing I can think of to a rite of passage. Again, the fact that any imbecile can put down 10 grand of cash doesn't mean that you're cool. It doesn't mean that you've arrived. It means that you've got 10 grand.
You might have more money than sense, in fact.
winning your way into the NHC and walking into that room and seeing all these people, some recognizable, some not. It's just a phenomenal feeling. I don't think the NHC would like to hear it, but if I'm being honest, it's the one event I would consider going to, even if I couldn't play.
I don't think they'd be offended by that.
It's like a horse players convention almost.
Right. Yeah. A sicko convention, which is a good thing. We need
they used to have that, remember?
Yeah, that's right. The old DR.
Right?
That could ride again, Frank. That could ride again.
That was amazing back in the day.
I mean, any event that had keynote speakers of William Murray, the racing writer, and Harvey Pack. I mean, it's kind of a shame that it doesn't still exist. That's a podcast or a video for another time. But to me, just to say one more nice thing about the NHC, to me, the two smartest things about it in its conception, and I don't know to give Tim Smith credit for this, Kenny Kirkner, Stephen Christ, Keith Chamberlain, who was there at the time, the idea that you have to win your way in. But how about this? Also that you get an Eclipse Award, to see that Eclipse Award sitting on Justin Mustari's desk. That's awesome.
Honestly, I would like to see voters decide. So I would love to see, just like there's nominees, I'd love to see someone that scored in the Grade 1 Gamble, the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, and the NHC, and let the voters decide what seemed more impressive. Is it some guy betting big dollars on big favorites that doesn't seem to be that smart? Or is it someone that picked a million winners in a row at the NHC on the last day? I don't know.
That was a very unflattering description of yourself, but, if the shoe fits.
It is, but there are so many big contests out there. You're absolutely right, Matt.
So the voting's fun.
It is a great honor to win the NHC, and I mean, absolute horse player's dream. But yeah, there's a lot of big contests out there throughout the year, and you see a lot of the same names at the top of the leaderboard, who might fizzle out in the NHC just because of the structure and the field size. But yeah, that would be very interesting to kind of have a little voting panel that would award Horse Player of the Year to who they think is the best.
I'll say this. I mean, I love the idea, but I'll say this. Without the NTRA and, Stephen Christ, Tim Smith, Chamberlain, Kirkner, like the idea of a horse player getting an Eclipse never.
Sure. Oh, yes.
So,
yeah.
In that sense, I don't mind at all just letting them have it in perpetuity because it wouldn't exist if not for that.
That's true. That recognizes the horse player in an event that otherwise would just, basically hire horse players to park their cars or bus tables. So yeah, I think that's a real honor.
That sounds like the voice of experience, Frank. In addition to your wrestling background, is there something else you haven't told us?
Yeah, I think back in the day, I once parked Ken Ramsey's car for him at the Eclipse Awards.
My best car parking experience. My best car parking experience of all time, and it's a true story. If we ever did one of those 4 facts and a lie about me, once parked Southside Johnny's car, and my favorite, which is 100% true. And we were at the radio station back in the K-Rock days, Frank.
Yep.
I think we were doing the old rent party. We used to do the rent parties for Why Hunger, where different famous musicians would come in and play in the studio and basically take requests. People would pay $1,000, and this impromptu band, which was people like Clarence Clemens, Southside Johnny, Marshall Crenshaw,
wow,
Jules Shear was a big part of those bands. Joey Ramone came one year, and I was the intern.
Unbelievable.
Right? Yeah, and at some point, South needed his car moved from one side of the street to the other, and I took care of it for him. And years later, I interviewed South on these airwaves, on the In the Money Media airwaves, and he had one of my favorite off-the-cuff lines of all time when I reminded him that I once moved his car from one side of the street to the other on, 5th and 57th. He said, "You didn't look in the trunk, did you?"
Oh, my God, that's classic.
Maybe the best moment in the history of In the Money Media. All right, we are over time. We're supposed to get out of here. Believe it or not, I'm going to see the symphony tonight. Philadelphia Orchestra playing, doing a Gershwin thing, highlighted by Rhapsody in Blue.
I've seen that a long time ago. Is Dutois still the maestro, the conductor?
Might be Dutois. We'll continue to BS for a minute, but Matt has a birthday dinner to get to. Matt, love you, brother. We'll talk soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
I kept him longer than I said I was going to because we got going.
Oh, sorry.
What? Remind me the Dutois story.
No, it's just I remember a long time ago. I went to see the at SPAC, and it was the craziest thing I've ever. People were in the crowd. It was such a refined, mellow crowd, but there was this one group that kept screaming out "Dutois, Dutois," who was the conductor, the maestro, or whatever. I'm not as sophisticated to know the term.
He was the conductor,
but they were shouting for him like I just thought it was the coolest thing.
As if he was Bruce Springsteen.
Correct. Yes, like they're cheering for the boss. Dutois, Dutois. So
let's do the leaderboard here, and then we will get out of here. Oh, nice. Chris Couples got in there for the exacta. He'll be playing in that tournament. Timothy Lyons with maybe the second biggest score I've ever seen on HorsePlayers Happy Hour. Matt Latexier in third, Nathan Kaczynski, Richard Meister, Cesar Alvarez, Bob Montgomery, Bill McAvoy, Don Marquardt, good to see him back in the mix. Matthew McJunkin, one of the great last names of all time. Bob Montgomery, Michael Cavana will take 2 entries forward to the Saturday qualifier. Mark Wilgard and Mark Henderson rounds out the lineup. What fun this was, Frank. So happy to have you part of the team here. We will bring you back in for the next time, and appreciate you, brother.
I love it. I'm sorry my picks were terrible today. I had the first 2 races, and then of course I get on air and I'm no good. But if you'll have me, I'll be back again next week. I love doing it. I love the camaraderie. I love the atmosphere just being here at Del Mar, seeing the people walk by while we're talking about races. So thanks for having me, Pete.
Good stuff from Frank, from Matt, from JK, from everybody out there in the audience. Congrats once again to our exacta finishers today. That was great to see from Timothy Lyons and Chris Couples, one of our In the Money regulars for In the Money Media, for our friends at the Breeders' Cup, especially Haley and Justin. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatel. May you win all your photos.